Good Thursday morning, South Carolina Weather Watch. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Thursday so far, and hopefully, everyone is having a fantastic Thanksgiving as well. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I'm your host for South Carolina Weather, Jesse Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Thanksgiving. Now, looking at the radar right now, you can see that we do have thunderstorms, showers, and storms right now isolated, but are going through places like Saluda, Camden, also down here near Barnwell. We have some strong thunderstorms also moving through Georgia as well, but nothing through South Carolina right now. As we go into the MRMS, you can see barely anything for South Carolina, but if we go up here to the winter weather radar, you can see that we do have some heavy snow going on in places like New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, up there in Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, as well as and Nebraska, the Dakotas, Minnesota. I believe I already said that, but Iowa as well. And then some rain going on inside of Georgia, Texas, and then some scattered precipitation going on inside the deep south as well. But that's what's going on right now in terms of the entire United States. If we go on the current cloud cover, pretty much the entire state covered with cloud cover. The upstate is probably a bit clear or a bit more clear than everybody else, but right now it is still pretty much cloudy or mostly cloudy throughout the entire state. Here's our cloud cover total percentage right here. So as we go on and move through, cloud cover continues even as you go into this is tonight right here. Still cloud cover takes over, but then as you go past tonight into tomorrow, as we go into tomorrow, cloud cover continues to go on as we get into tomorrow morning as well. So that's what's going on right now as we go into tomorrow morning. If you go on to our current temperatures, 66 in Columbia, 70 in Charleston, as well as 70 in Georgetown, 68 in Myrtle Beach, 64 in Rock Hill, 62 in Greenville and Anderson, Spartanburg, 66 inside of Augusta and Fairfax, well 68 in Walterboro, Beaufort, and 71 in Savannah. High temperatures for today: 65 in Anderson, Greenville, and Spartanburg, 66 in Rock Hill, Lawrence, 68 in Greenwood, 73 in Columbia, 72 in Aiken, 76 in Walterboro, Hilton Head Island, 74 in Charleston, 75 in Moncks Corner, as well as Georgetown, 73 in Sumter, Florence, and 72 inside of Dillon, and 74 in Myrtle Beach. Peak sustained winds. Winds are actually going to be pretty gusty and breezy today because of a cold front that's passing by. I did just get a pretty good gust earlier, around like 10 miles per hour, I believe it was. But I mean, again, not strong, but you could actually hear it, at least inside my house. But around 14, I'd say around the max winds would be around 10 to 25 miles per hour. There are some locations that might not get that high, but 10 to 20, especially maybe isolated 25 mile per hour wind gust is possible pretty much anywhere you go throughout the entire state. So, again, these are peak sustained winds, but you gotta look at these from a range because they're not going to be 100% accurate, but you can see your own location right here if you would like to check it out. Here is our peak sustain or peak wind gust. Peak wind gust. Peak wind gust will actually be high as well. It's not really the sustained winds that you're really gonna have to be looking at. It's really those gusts, and you can see wind gusts will go all the way from a minimum of 15 miles per hour all the way up to a maximum of around 35 miles per hour. Um, Isolated 40, would not be surprised if it was isolated 40 out there, but mainly around 15 to 35 miles per hour is possible. Places like Florence and Dillon might get up to 30. Anderson might get up to 30. Greenville 25. Greenwood 29. Same thing with Charleston 29. Georgetown 29. Hilton Head Island 26 as well. So again, very interesting numbers all the way up to around 35 as well. Forecast precipitation for the next 24 or so hours around 100th of an inch to a tenth of an inch possible inside of Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Cheraw, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, Moncks Corner, Charleston, and Walterboro, Barnwell as well. Greenwood, Anderson, and maybe a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch possible in places like Aiken, Lawrence, and Dillon as well. There are some places that might not receive a drop of rain. Maybe Hilton Head Island might be one of those locations today. But again, some locations might not see a drop of rain. Again, this was an isolated severe weather kind of like threat. So only a couple of people were probably going to receive it anyway. But that's why we were just saying you just need to be prepared for. And speaking of isolated severe weather, we already have our marginal risk of severe weather here that is now past Columbia and now pretty much from Columbia due east. So when I say Columbia due east, I mean from Columbia all the way down I-26 to the coastal regions. But right now, everyone that's east of Columbia pretty much you do still have that marginal risk of severe weather. That does come. I believe that tornado threat is still there. Yeah, that tornado threat is still there. That wind threat is still there. And for the low country of South Carolina, that hail risk is still there. If a storm does get going, has a 5% chance of wind, 5% or a 2% chance of tornadoes. And if you're in the low country of South Carolina or the southern Midlands, like down there near Allendale and Orangeburg as well, some small hail is possible if that storm does get going. So make sure that you are watching out for that as well. And then nothing to worry about. No excessive rainfall is expected. Nothing in the tropics. So we're pretty much good with that. Let's go on and load up the 14Z. See what we got. There goes these storms, and these storms are looking pretty interesting, especially as we get to around 2-3 o'clock p.m. Look at these. I mean, these are heavy storms right there that are going to be trying to move through. Look at like wind gusts, for example. It's not really showing much in terms of wind gusts, but again, models, I mean, they're not going to always do the best in terms of wind gusts with individual storms. That's just going to be what the storm is at that time. But the HRRR does have storms moving through all the way to around 5 o'clock to when they finally leave. But then maybe some more isolated thunderstorms get it going on the coastal region of Charleston. So we'll continue to watch, but definitely, even though it's not looking like much right now, I still would be looking for some strong storms inside the low country and the PD region of South Carolina for sure as we move through around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And that's going to about wrap this up. Make sure that if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you do that. We're at 307 subscribers now. We're again at 307 now. So make sure that you go on and do that. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers as well. So I will be back tonight, 9 o'clock p.m. with your, I guess your Thanksgiving evening forecast update going into the future live at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
Hey!